Welcome to the Sex, Money, and Real Estate Podcast, the show for real estate couples about how to close more deals in the bedroom. My name is Bill Jameson.
And I'm Nancy Jameson.
And each week we deep dive into juicy, intentional, sexy conversations, sharing with you what it takes to create balance in your intimate relationships and your real estate business. Thank you so much for being here. Shall we begin? What's up, baby?
Hey, baby. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Awesome.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah. Whoa, whoops. That probably came out on the mic. Did anybody hear that? Yeah, I'm doing great and appreciate being here on this lovely day.
Cool.
Yeah. And just kind of thinking about, it's November.
Mm-hmm. It is.
And it's that time of year where, we do our some planning for the next year. Mm-hmm. We talk about what we're going to spend our money on and what we're not going to spend our money on and all that kind of stuff, and get ready for marketing and all that kind of stuff with our real estate. And, I think it's apropos that we have a conversation today about finances as a whole as we get into this last quarter, or as we're almost done with this last quarter, actually.
Yeah.
And, talk about what some of the things that we do. And, we can also talk about where we have some opportunities with our finances today.
Awesome.
Yeah. And before we do that.
Do you want to say hello?
Oh, yeah, because we're videoing right now, too. Hello.
What's up, Jam Fam?
Now I'm going to be staring at that camera the rest of the time. We are, do you have some magic today that you want to share?
I do. Before I do that, I definitely want to welcome everybody and just really express gratitude for everybody being here. We are obviously recording. We're rolling this into our repertoire of features and, just constantly evolving all of the value that we give you guys. So we added the video on, and you can get to see us and how we interact with each other and all that goofballness. And so I definitely just want to welcome you, and you're in the right place if you're looking for sex, money, and real estate. Anything and everything about those intimate relationships being even more successful, at the very least equally successful as your real estate business. So
yeah, because there's obviously this intimacy around sex and relationships, and if you're not looking money in the eye, you're not being intimate with that. And real estate, you got to know that stuff like the back of your hand, and that's intimacy as well. So
yes, absolutely,
all those intimate relationships.
Yeah. So that being said, magic is, we start off every episode with magic, and how we define magic is our ability, your ability, my ability to influence life, self, and others in a very empowering way. And so the magic that I wanted to share, there's always so much, and it's really beautiful. So the magic I do want to share for this particular episode is around these beautiful flowers. And you just got back from your solo travel exploration.
Dadcation.
A dadcation. Okay, that sounds like a hashtag.
Daddycation.
Yeah, well, it was a mancation.
Mancation.
Because there was no dad about it. The kids were with me.
True.
It's great. But yeah, so you just got back from Miami, and what a beautiful surprise to get flower delivery during the time that you were away from you. And so I just really appreciate you pausing on your vacation and expressing your love for me and the beautiful flowers. So I appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Cool. Anything else?
No.
Oh, all right.
You?
Yeah, being doing the dadcation or the mancation or whatever we call it, was fantastic. So that was a big expression of self-love and self-care for sure. So I appreciate that. And then, when I got back here, and I've worked out with my trainer. I've gone on a couple runs for myself already. I've received a massage. And I'm going to go to the chiropractor at some point soon as well. And all great expressions of self-love and self-care. And I appreciate my ability to pour into myself like that.
Yes, it is the balance. That's what we coach to. It's all about the balance of the production and the production capability. The production being the outpouring of, the consequences of all of those things that you produce, but the production capability is you being the golden goose.
I am the goose.
You are the goose. You're the goat too.
And I'm also the egg. The golden egg.
Yes. So, yes, we must take care of that golden goose.
Cool.
So thank you for that. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Awesome. All right. So what are we talking about again today? We're talking about...
Well, so the title of our episode is The Ultimate Year-End Financial Review for Living Your Best Life. And so when you hear that title, if I were thinking about that title at the at the onset of either my real estate career or maybe just getting out of college or my marriage or any of those, the beginnings, you could be at any age for any of those things. And yet that could be a little overwhelming. So, as we go through this financial review of our financial house, just keep in mind that these things take time over the course of your life. And by no means is the expectation for you to go out and do this like right now, all of these things. Of course you could, if you're one of the super high achievers, then go for it, carve out a day or two and 3 or a week or whatever and do all of these things. But, this takes time. This takes time and it takes consistency. And so we go through some different practices and what we call art forms, what are actions, relationships, or thoughts that move this forward throughout the episode. And so I just wanted to lay that groundwork before we actually get started. And this is the perfect time to do that as well. Like you had alluded to in the beginning, we're doing our business planning and for each one of our businesses. And that includes our house planning in terms of the personal. And so part of the personal is doing the financial house as well. So that's where this branch of planning comes from.
Yeah. I mean, and this is really a great time to do it for a lot of reasons. Obviously, it's end of year. And these weeks before Thanksgiving, whether you're busy or not, it's just going to get busier, because, once that Thanksgiving week hits and to the end of the year, with Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever it is that you celebrate, I mean, it's just popping. I mean, every week, every weekend.
Yep. Thursdays now, all the holiday parties.
Right. All the stuff. And, and we want you to enjoy that stuff and go to all the parties and have all the fun and do all, because that's part of the balance and that's part of the fun and the season. And also, selfishly, a great time to network as well. So get out and do those things for sure. And take advantage of this time right now and start reviewing, what's where you've been this year, what you've done, what you haven't done, and look at your bottom line. Did you make money this year? Did you lose money this year?
Where? Yeah, and where was it to shore those things up?
Right.
Absolutely.
So, where do you want to start, Nance?
Well, let's see. I mean, again, just to reiterate, just take it slow. Like as we go through these things, I mean, this is all about, so this is how we approached it. How do we build a financial board of directors?
Right.
And who are the coaches, who are the experts that we need in our financial wheelhouse to shore it up, to not only stabilize it and create that foundation, but to really like get it moving. Yeah. Because for us, one of the things, if we're going to look back and look at hindsight 2020, I mean, for us, we definitely started late. Like we really did, in terms of like the investments and investments being stocks and IRAs and all of those things. So there is a component of playing catch up and that's cool. I mean, you just got to start. Honestly, you just got to start.
Right.
So wherever you are where you are. No judgment. Just put your foot in the water and like start swimming.
Yeah. Whether it's $10, $100 or, $10,000, whatever your, and you may not even think you have the budget to do $10. And yet, I encourage you to dig deep and take that first step because it only adds to the momentum.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. So make your board of directors or figure out like who you have and who you need. So essentially,
So guess what?
what?
You're on my board of directors.
Thank you. I hope so.
Yeah, and I'm hopefully I'm on yours as well.
Mm-hmm. You are,
Because it's important, right? That all the decision making parties are right there together, making these decisions together.
Yeah, absolutely. And so while there may be one person who leads the financial conversation, or who does the main research, or says, hey, I'm really interested in money, so I'm gonna take the lead on this. It's super important that all of the parties of, whether it's a partner or a business, it could be 3 partners or whatever, are in line and in alignment with the financial decisions of the practice. So yes, whomever is whatever we're talking about. So in this particular instance, it's Bill and I. We're talking about, our house and the businesses. So we're on the board. We're co-CEOs.
Yeah. And not quite on the board, but participating partners are Rex and Lucas. They sit in on a lot of these conversations, or we'll have the conversations with them. And not that they necessarily understand or even care, honestly, about it, but we know that when we're speaking to them about it, it's sinking in somewhere, their subconscious. So we have our boys in on a lot of these conversations when we're talking about money and investments and stuff like that, so that it doesn't feel so foreign to them, in a few years when they, get up to do it themselves. So
yeah, I think they care. I mean, I think they're interested in it. How are my stocks doing, and what are stocks, and I mean, what's a credit card? I think they're definitely interested. They may get tapped out after a while, but but that's cool. So all right, so financial board of directors. So you and your partner, or maybe you or whoever the decision makers are of this particular entity. Your CPA,
yep,
for sure. Your bookkeeper, I think this is one of those that kind of, there are some people that don't necessarily think of it, but your bookkeeper, who are running your financial documents every month, like who's in your QuickBooks, who is disseminating the information and categorizing it and coding it to your chart of accounts, who's running your reports. It's just somebody that's doing it that is not you. You may be doing it right now. However, the goal is to have somebody else do it.
Absolutely.
Your insurance agent.
For sure.
Your estate planning attorney.
And you may have several different insurance agents.
You may have one that rocks the whole house. You may have 2. You may want one for business and one for personal. But again, I mean, that's part of the research and the work.
Yep.
And then who's your wealth manager? Ooh, your wealth manager. I love that. Who's the one who's managing my wealth? So those are all the coaches. I mean, essentially, if you think of your wheelhouse, you've got your financial wheelhouse, and you have all your coaches in there. So we've broken this list down. Excuse me. We've broken this list down into a few different categories. And in our humble opinion, remember, we're not CPAs, we're not wealth managers, we're not insurance agents, we're not bookkeepers, and we're not estate planning attorneys. However, this is the list, like this is the compilation of our list that we do to review.
Yep.
And so this list was very short a long time ago, and now it's grown to, a few pages. So your list may be short too, and that's okay, but just, start. And so we feel that the best place to start is having an understanding and reviewing your cash flow.
Yes. Where is that cash going? How many, where are you slipping that debit card into? Yeah. So, I guess the first thing, like we said, is the cash flow. Identify all the sources of current income, right?
Yep.
So we think about, current income. You think about not only your main career, but if you have any side hustles, those secondary streams of income.
Yep, absolutely.
And we have a few streams of income right now with 2 or more that, play pretty significantly, and some of them that are not generating all the cash at this point, but they all, we look at them all. So what do you have on our list, Nance?
So currently our streams of income that are making money are clearly our real estate business.
Right.
So we have the real estate business, we have the coaching business, we have our profit share associated with our real estate business, and we have all of our investments, stocks, IRAs, that kind of stuff. And then any of our affiliate links that we're a part of to where we earn income when those things are purchased. So those are the things that are current. And then the two that are in play that are in the process of generating yet they're not generating yet are the podcast.
Yep.
So, podcast out of the podcast, we're working on our merch account. We're working on sponsorships. We're working on advertising. We're working on lots of really cool things for the podcast. So there's lots of lines in the water for that. And then the app, the health and fitness app that we've been beta testing for the last few years, we are so super close to launching that puppy, and we're incredibly excited about it. So that's the Your Day Balance Game app. And if you want to take a peek at the app, you too can be a beta tester right now. It's theydbg.com. And you can watch Bill and I. We've been playing for over 50,000 hours now at this point. Yes, 50,000 hours.
Yes.
Playing on the app. And it's a wonderful, wonderful accountability tool that we use, and then all of our coaching clients use too. And then, the eighth thing that we're planning for is to take the plunge and really start like those real estate assets, So
yeah, we've played in the game for a long time, and we've never actually
utilized.
Utilized the tools to on that side of it. So that's definitely forthcoming soon.
Yeah, there's lots of lines in the water for that too. So it's exciting.
And the next thing is to, along these same lines, is to track and organize all the expenses, right? So both monthly and annually.
So you have your income and your expenses, and otherwise known as the budget.
Right. Yep.
So get it done. If you're an irregular budget or if you're a regular budget, get it done.
And there's plans for each out there, and being in real estate or the mortgage business or or sales in general. I mean, we understand more than anybody that you can have a very irregular budget. So, but the way to soften that curve a little bit is to actually track your numbers. Otherwise, it's always going to feel, a lot of realtors are high eyes. They're more about the rah and the sparkles and following the squirrels and stuff. And when the money comes in, it's great, and when it's not there, it feels like panic. And a lot of that is because they're not tracked. Yep. So you track it and you know where your money's going. That curve bell can be bell curve can be flattened a little bit. Yes, thank you.
Awesome. Yep. Which dovetails perfectly into the next is like really identify and look at your expenses. Play red light, green light.
Yeah.
Yes, this is good to go, or no, it's not. I'm going to stop it. So things you may stop are cable, Starbucks, any miscellaneous subscriptions, anything like that. So it's really important to take a look at those expenses, and then likewise take a look at your cell phone carrier or your insurance carrier. I mean, oh my gosh, we tell our clients all the time about homeowners insurance. Like, look at that every single year.
And auto insurance.
Yep, absolutely.
I read something like in Money Magazine a few years ago around, they hike it up. The insurance carriers hike it up just a little bit every single year. And, but by the time that year 4 or year 5 goes around, I mean, you're paying a lot more than you originally were. So you need to definitely have a plan for shopping that stuff around. Yeah. And then, the other thing I want to mention, because you said, subscription services, and I want to emphasize that, we really live in a subscription based driven society right now. I mean, everything's a subscription, and if you're carrying more than you need, then take a look at that and cut back on a few of those, because I'm sure there's some redundancies in there, especially if you're in real estate, because everybody's trying to sell you something. So
absolutely, man. I tell you what, I remember the first time that our business card got hacked, and the identity was stolen, and then we had to cancel the business card because they were using it. And then what happened is we started getting all of these, emails or phone calls from people that were on our card. This is years ago, that were on our card that we had forgotten about. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, no, we just saved $40 a month. We just saved $10 a month. We just saved $12. I mean, it was a lot. And so the identity theft, the first time it happened, actually took a turn for the great, because it allowed us to really say, okay, whoa, I need to pay attention to our expenses. Number one, again, back to that looking money in the eyes conversation. Woo. And then save money. So yes, that's where that bookkeeper comes into play, is like really identifying those things. So I'm complete.
Awesome.
With that.
So, the next thing is evaluate trends and expect changes in the, or expected changes to your current income or your expenses, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it could be the kid's education, or you have aging parents, or whatever it is, I mean, anything less than looking at it directly is denial. And that's, that's not the river that you want to swim in.
Right. Exactly. And that plays into identifying if you have any large expenses coming up the following year, like Lucas just got braces on yesterday. So that was something that we've been planning for a while. And I mean, gosh, it could be home improvement items. You could be moving this year. You got to get the house ready to list, braces, college, car, laptop, I mean, you name it.
Yep. I love that.
So plan for those.
Yeah. And for the things that you're not planning for, right? I mean, you may have just bought a laptop and not planning to buy one this year. And yet, it goes in the river somehow, or gets wet or whatever. And, all of a sudden you need to buy a new laptop, and,
Yes.
$700 or $1,000 for a laptop. It would be a great thing if you had an emergency fund.
Oh, huge.
To take care of that.
Huge emergency fund proponents. Absolutely. We actually call it the abundance fund because, if you're planning for an emergency, sure as shit, an emergency is going to happen. So plan the abundance. So you've got the abundance, and then you have the opportunity to take care of it. So you can approach emergency fund at $500, $1,000, or $2,000. We did a podcast all around the emergency fund and the significance of setting an emergency fund. So go look in the archives and check that out.
Cool.
It's really, really, really important to have the emergency fund and get to that goal as soon as you possibly can. As soon as you can.
Cool.
Awesome. So that was cash flow. So that was section 1.
That's section 1. Section 2 is reducing taxes.
Yes. Now, taxes. Taxes are intimidating. I mean, everybody has their own opinion on taxes. And so what we would say about taxes is clearly, okay, cool. You can do your TurboTax. Okay, fine. The larger you get, or the more complex your financial picture, which is the goal, to make it, extensive and expansive and multi-layered. So get a CPA.
Yeah.
I mean, please.
Yeah. TurboTax is great, but it's not all that.
Yeah. It is just, and because your CPA is the one who's going to set you up and have conversations around tax liabilities, tax breaks, tax benefits, it's all the conversation around reducing your taxes.
Yeah. And, looking taxes in the eye is also not only all that's amazing stuff, but get your taxes done early. Don't wait till the last minute. I mean, that's no fun it's not fun for your guy, for your CPA. It's not fun for you.
Yep.
And that way, if there are any surprises, you have time to take a look at that as well.
Absolutely. Estimated taxes, payroll, quarterlies. How am I going to contribute? So these are just, you can Google individual checklists for this too, or like the whole, the whole scope of all of my itemizations as a real estate agent. But I mean, really all of those things. So contributions from charity contributions, gifts, how are you going to contribute to your college fund? Like all of those things, like go talk to your CPA about that.
For sure.
Please.
Cool. That was section 2.
Yes, that was taxes.
That could be a section that could go very long.
Yeah.
And yet, find a CPA.
I mean, there's whole podcasts about taxes and all the intricacies of all of that stuff. So,
all right. So section 3.
Yeah.
Insurance plans.
I know this is kind of boring too.
Oof, golly.
But they're really, I
just had like this yawn. You may not have heard it, but it was in my head.
Okay. And how did you feel like when we set up all of our insurance, We set up our, properly set up, we had a consultation with an insurance agent, and they properly set up our car, each one of our cars, to take care of our real estate business and the passengers in our real estate business. And if there was somebody else who didn't have, insurance or all of these things like collision and yada, 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 again, not an insurance agent. But how great did you feel when we had all of that properly set up for our car, all of the umbrella insurance and everything that encompassed properly set up, the short-term disability properly set up, the long-term disability properly set up? How did you feel?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, it was like, oh.
well covered.
It was like when the emergency fund was funded, it was like, oh, thank goodness. And then, emergencies didn't happen, or, really, insurance stuff doesn't necessarily happen anymore.
Right.
It's just, it's very soothing, and it's very comforting to know that the people in your car, buyers, sellers, kids, your mom, ourselves, the pets, whatever.
Yeah,
they're properly covered.
Yes, everybody's covered. It leaves you, in a positive situation where if something does come up, you're not relying on others to help get you by or get through or whatever, or you're not draining your emergency fund. It's well taken care of.
Yeah.
So just real quick on insurance. So you want to look at your health savings accounts, right?
Yes. Yeah, of course.
You want to look at your flexible spending accounts.
Yep.
You want to review your homeowner's insurance or your renter's insurance.
Every year. Renter's insurance. Renters get insurance. Enough said.
Yeah. You want to evaluate the need for an umbrella policy.
Yep.
And we love our umbrella policy.
Yeah.
For sure. Just that umbrella policy gives me the warm and fuzzies.
And it's not expensive.
Nope.
And renter's insurance isn't expensive either, but I can tell you so many stories about all of these different things that were covered, like our wedding rings.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
That's on a video or a podcast too, by the way. That whole story.
You want to review your deductibles and look for more, efficient options with the same coverage.
Yeah. Well, yes, it's important to, do your due diligence in terms of identifying those incremental upticks in your insurance, because before you know it, that stuff is out of control. Because your premium is compensating for all of the other insurance claims that have happened over the last year.
Right.
So if it was, an especially cataclysmic weather year, then your insurance is going to go up, even if you didn't have a claim. So just make the phone call. Make the phone call to your current insurance first and let them know that that's exactly what you're doing. And a lot of times they'll move it down.
Yep.
So.
You want to review your long-term care and disability income insurance? Yes,
that covers, because as real estate agents, we are the assets. So if we're at a commission,
we're out of commission. Right. Right.
So you gotta protect the short-term and the long-term disability.
Yes. And then lastly is review your life insurance policies.
Yeah. And one of the things that we do during our coaching is this is a module, this is a whole part of the coaching that we give them, and taking them through all of the different insurance that they had, and then also estate planning, which is actually the next section, because people don't want to think about when they're going to die, and they don't want to think about when they're going to need insurance, whether it's in a car accident or otherwise. So people don't look at it. They don't. They just don't. It's just not. It's boring, and it's not fun. However, when you do have those things set up, it's beautiful. Yeah. There's one thing that I realized that we just we did not add to our list is pet insurance.
Oh, that's a great one. I love that. I'm actually going to add it on right now while you talk about it. Real quick.
So pet insurance. If you value pets and they're a part of your life and a part of your family, then look into adding a pet insurance policy, because you never know what can happen with those little guys or big guys. And it's so incredibly important to be able to protect them as well. And, of course, protect your family budget, because if they have cancer and then all of a sudden, you have to put them through chemo, that stuff is super expensive.
Yep.
And, again, at least you have the option, and it's not very much money. So
nice.
Awesome.
So you mentioned the next section is estate planning.
Yes. So we have review your cash flow, review your taxes.
Right.
Review your insurance.
Yep.
options or
Yawn.
needs.
Yep.
And then estate planning is number 4.
Yes. So take time to review your estate documents if you have them. And if you don't, then...
Ooh, baby. Let's go.
Right.
We're talking about your will, your durable power of health, your power of attorney, your living will, all of these different documents. Do you want to put things in a trust, irrevocable or revocable? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, who are you going to call?
Estate planning.
Yes.
Attorney person.
Yes, please. Yes. And if you're in Georgia, we have a fantastic estate planning attorney. Our board of directors are top notch. So if you need a referral, we're happy to refer you
on any of this stuff, really,
because they're all fantastic.
Mm-hmm. But our estate planning guy is amazing.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah. And here's the thing, before we go on and as we go on is that, it may seem a little arduous going through and doing all these things, especially if you don't have them in place already. Mm-hmm. But once they're done, they're essentially done. And then you're doing what we do and you're reviewing every year. It's not like, you get it into place and then it's kind of like, click it and forget it kind of thing.
Yeah. Unless you have like a life change,
Right.
So if you're single and you get married, or if you're single and you have a kid, or if you're married and you have a kid, or you get divorced, or, one of you passes or, things like that. Of course, like, any kind of life event. But yeah, really, once they're done, they're done. I know that we had talked about updating our documents just, because the children are getting older now. They're, almost 13 and 14. So we wanted to update them. But again, it's part of the review. And really, we're in a position now. And again, I guess this is really for the financially savvy too. Like, you're in a position also that it's a review. So where are you keeping your documents? Are they all in one place? Are they on a Google Drive? Do you have physical documents of all of these things? And are they in a safe or something like that? Like those are the things that you're going to want to think about too.
And is there somebody else that knows where they are beyond your spouse or your partner?
Yep. Yeah, so, absolutely.
Yep. Cool. So anything else about estate planning?
Let's see. So review that they're accurate and current, that they're all in one place as with your other documents, and then just making sure that you have the things that you want to have in terms of, who they're being willed to, or, no, I think that's it.
Okay, cool. So then that takes us to the next section, which is review your investment goals.
Yes. So this is like an orgasm for me.
Tell us about that.
So, it's so wonderful to be able to, go into this whole, the investment portfolio and be like, oh my gosh, because this is just something that I've always wanted to do for us. And so this is a great example to where I've taken the lead on, are we an aggressive portfolio, or are we in a not aggressive portfolio? I don't know all the terms because I'm not a wealth manager. I have Faye on my board of directors with Bill. So yes, so I'm not,
And Faye was also on our podcast. No, I don't know, back in the spring, I guess.
Yeah,
or late spring or early summer.
Yeah. So she's Faye Sykes. So she did 2 episodes. I think we did 2 or 3 episodes with her on finances and stuff. But yeah, so she's amazing. But yes, so, as we're going through these different portfolio conversations, and do I invest in this? Do I not invest in this? Do I expand the portfolio or contract the portfolio? Like all of this stuff, she's been amazing with it. So, it's great practice to reevaluate, stay on top of all of the trends and whatever your needs are changing. Again, life events. These things impact how you set up your investments initially, in terms of, do you want to borrow against them, be able to do that, or you just want to set it and forget it? And then, of course, life events. Life events definitely change things. But, while you're reviewing the portfolio, rebalancing those things, it's important to also factor in, you may want to sell some things, you may want to buy some more stuff, but
yeah. And, and as you go through those evaluations, you're going to want to meet with your coach, your advisor. We recommend once a quarter, and it doesn't have to be this long drawn out thing, but just kind of hang out with them for, half an hour or 45 minutes and, make sure that everything that you're doing is in alignment with the market and yourself and your goals, and it just makes sense, and, guess like accountants and other people and doctors in similar positions. These financial advisors know everybody as well, and they're great for referrals. So
yeah, that's a great point too. Yeah, it's a symbiotic relationship
for sure. Yeah. So meet with them face to face, and have that cup of coffee and talk about this stuff for sure.
Yeah. Now we have Faye rebalance our portfolio once a quarter, and then we used to meet with her more often, but we actually meet with her. I mean, we talk with her on a very frequent basis, but literally about our portfolio we'll meet on a biannual basis now to really make sure like we're all on the same page, and what are new things that come out in the market, or where do we want to focus those things. But yeah, I mean, in the beginning, definitely we advise to meet with your wealth coach once a quarter.
Yes.
Once a quarter.
Nice.
Awesome. Oh, excuse me. Woo.
All right.
So, yeah, I'm fine.
Okay,
what else do we want to say about that?
Well, look at mortgages, your mortgage, if you carry a mortgage, and talk about, did you talk about refinancing?
No, not yet.
Yeah, I mean, we know what market we're in right now. We know rates are super low, and
yep.
refinancing should be pretty easy right now. I mean, they're talking about tightening up some of the lending guidelines in the upcoming year. So, if it's something you've been looking at, then, I would advise that you take a look at it now for sure.
Yep. And then another big component to this too is your credit report and just keeping tabs on it. I mean, it doesn't have to be this like, I need to look at my credit report and check my credit every day. It's more of like, you're just keeping your finger on the pulse of what's going on.
Keeping your ducks in a row. Absolutely.
Yep. Because at any point, you may need business credit, or you may find this perfect real estate investment. And so that's perfect to have an understanding of, oh, okay, cool. So my credit's over 700, rock and roll, let's go. And it's just really good. So we have this, we signed up for this monitor service, or this service that monitors. You can sign up. There's all different kinds of apps and everything to where you can have your credit just notify you of when there's an update. Like I got one this morning. Your credit rating is up 5 points. Okay, cool. Thank you.
And you now qualify for another credit card. No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Yeah, but thanks for letting us know.
Right.
Yes, thanks for playing.
Yeah. No, that's really cool.
Cool. So then let's talk about retirement. The next section.
Yes.
I mean, I think that kind of plays into the whole investment thing for sure. Get your investments in line, and I think probably for a lot of people, the getting those investments in line is part of planning for retirement.
All of it. I mean, this list is definitely in consecutive order for the purpose of setting yourself up for retirement. So this retirement, it all goes hand in hand with the cash flow, with expenses, taxes, investments, estate planning. Absolutely, to set up for retirement. So how much you need to be comfortable. I mean, we're living so much longer than we have been, and we're just experiencing so many more things than we have been, and it's now very, very, very important that you have the ability to utilize your wherewithal and your health and your vitality now to set yourself up. Because I mean, people are living into their 90s easily.
Yeah, and there's some stat where it's been a while since I've heard this, but I remember it's something around, a high percentage of Americans have only a couple of years worth of retirement saved to the point where they could still live into their current lifestyle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, it's important.
Yeah, it's scary. There's all kinds of scary stats out there about, the amount of credit card the amount of credit card debt and the lack of savings and and
nobody wants to be 80 or 85 and, putting that next buyer in their car.
Right. Right.
So
exactly.
I mean, if you're a listing agent, maybe you could do that. But.
Yeah. So cool. So back to retirement.
Oh yeah.
You have access to all different kinds of retirement calculators just to really get a great idea of what your retirement amount is going to be. So, as part of this process, it's figure out your retire target date. Like, retirement means so many things to different people. So perhaps the first step is to identify what retirement means to you. And if you're doing something that you love, then it doesn't necessarily feel like work anyway. However, if there is a thing where you're pausing on the real estate and you want to focus on traveling, then okay, cool. So then set that up as your target retirement date. And then again, the calculator will help you identify the amount of income that you need.
Nice. So again, review your target date for retirement.
Yep.
Evaluate your strategy to reach your retirement objective. Right?
Yeah. So if you want $100,000 a year, what is it going to take for me to get $100,000 a year for 20 years if I'm going to stop working at 70? That's what that is.
If you are older than 70 and a half, take your required minimum distribution.
If you don't know what that means, call your wealth manager.
Yes.
Yes.
Consider whether it's a Roth or a traditional IRA. That's going to make sense for you.
Yeah. I mean, really, all of these financial considerations, like you're again, this goes back to setting up the investments. How are you going to do that? How are you going to borrow against the investments, or are you going to, have money? It's like reverse income to where they're now paying you because they've been in there, and so you can have a stream of income from your investments as well. And that's where, you're talking about the required minimum distribution. You're talking about what are your IRAs and the age requirements for you to pull down on that. Also the 401k accounts and all of those things. So those are just some very brief things to talk to your wealth manager about as you're moving towards those target dates. So
yes. Awesome.
Yeah.
So let's and again, get a coach or get a financial advisor.
Yeah. I mean, that's really, that's your marching orders are to hire your board of directors, and they're going to change. If you're in your 20s, your people are probably going to change throughout your lifetime, because people come and go in different careers and all of those things, but just, it's an organic thing. But as the profession, essentially, who you're going to need on your team is going to stay the same.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, just, having a strong board of directors is key for your financial wheel.
For sure.
All right. So review your cash flow, review your taxes, go into the insurance conversation with your insurance agent, personal insurance and business insurance, estate planning.
Review your investment goals.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. My orgasm state.
Yes. Review your orgasms.
That's great. And then retirement. What does that look like for you? This is where you get to dream a little bit and figure that out. So awesome. It's pretty comprehensive. And again, I get that it could be overwhelming for few, but how do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time, baby. So, we'll put in, maybe we'll just put like the highlights, a few of these highlights from this conversation in the notes for the podcast. So you can go back over them and, maybe there's nothing to do with this for you, and maybe there's everything to do or something in between, so take your nugget away from this and, make money, do something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Take a step.
Yeah, you're increasing your financial maturity and acumen when you have this strategy. And again, ask us questions, because this is part of our coaching curriculum where we go through these things and make sure that our folks have this in place to, again, this is all about living your best life.
Yeah. And, and part of that is, is educating yourself, not only having a coach around this stuff, but educating yourself. So, it's listening to other podcasts that are hyper focused on investing or hyper focused on, retirement or whatever, so there's YouTube guys out there that are amazing. There's one financial guy that you love, the Rose.
Yeah. Jeff Rose.
Yeah. I
love Jeff Rose.
Yeah. Jeff Rose is cool. And again, it's not, it doesn't have to necessarily be, I'm finger quoting here, a lifestyle. Oh, it's on camera. A lifestyle. Just a few here and there, like you do everything else, and glean what you need to glean, and walk away from the rest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So. I mean, we look at this as a game. Like we have gamified the financial wheel so that it is fun for us, and it's a huge part of it. Like we've gamified basically our whole life. Like that's how we approach this, is like play. So it's fun and enjoyable, and we get all the juice out of that gum and just really, really dig it. I mean, we have full, rich life experiences, but I mean that's how we do it. So that's what we're sharing with you is how we gamify all of this.
And I want to add one last thing, and we can do our thing. But
of course.
And if all of this seems a little advanced at this point, and you've listened to this point in the podcast, you've gotten this far in it, I'm going to say that you are playing a bigger game for sure. And yet, if this still seems a little rich or a little overwhelming at this point, then go review Dave Ramsey's stuff.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Well,
yeah, absolutely. That's where we started.
Yeah, and go through, his steps to financial freedom, and then this stuff will kick in throughout that process as well. So,
yep, 7 baby steps for sure.
And if you have made it this far in the podcast, congratulations. Let us know that you made it this far in the podcast and you finished it. Good to know.
That'd be awesome.
Awesome. Cool. Anything else, babe?
No, I appreciate everybody. And of course, if you have a comment or a question around these things and how we approach our financial wheel, feel free to drop us a line at sexmoneyrealestate.com is the website, and sexmoneyrealestate@gmail.com is the email. Of course, we're on Instagram and all those social things.
So drop us a line. We'll talk to you soon.
Yes.
And peace. We'll see you on the other side.
Awesome. Love you guys. Bye.
Wow, what a show. Thank you so much for listening. And if you're inspired, we ask that you share the podcast with one person and subscribe and follow the show. I'm Bill Jameson.
And I'm Nancy Jameson.
And remember, it's
a great life. Quick note about the Sex, Money, and Real Estate podcast. We are not doctors or licensed therapists. We are a joyous, abundant, and mature couple passionately sharing our story of growth around sex, money, and real estate. Our thoughts, opinions, and beliefs are our own, so please consult your doctor, healthcare provider, or your broker regarding any questions or issues you have related to your physical or mental health or specific state laws regarding your real estate business.